smoking, but when they hear this song, they'll learn there's more to toking. 25,000 different things we can make from it, and if we give it a chance, we'll save the blinking planet. Food, fuel and medicine, necessities for life, a benefit to all of us, I wonder and delight. Reading this smelly weed, there's more than meets the eye, so much, much more than smoking, it can cleanse our dirty skies. Cannabis, cannabis, we'll save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is a very useful weed. Cannabis, cannabis, we'll save the planet with cannabis. Cannabis, cannabis is very good indeed.
I've got Sister Kate on mine from Sister Kate. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Wonderful, beautiful to speak to you. It's about 2:30. I'm just coming up for 2:00 in the morning here.
I'm glad I don't have to keep that schedule.
No, man, I work this 24 o'clock. So, sister, right, you're on Facebook and in the media a lot. Now, obviously, I work to more of a European audience, and I don't think many Europeans quite know who you are. So would you like to describe yourself to the audience, please? Who are you? What do you do?
Okay. It kind of goes back to 2011 and the Occupy movement. I spent 8 years living in Europe, and I loved living in Europe. And I came back in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, we all like Amsterdam. Nothing wrong with Amsterdam.
And I came back to America, and I was horrified at what had happened to my country in those 8 years. The mountaintops of the Appalachians were blown off. The water was being poisoned. The air is being poisoned. The towns, even in the middle of the Mojave Desert, look exactly the same, from sea to shining sea, Kmart, Walmart, Costco. And I was just very unhappy with my country. And then there was this pivotal event that happened, and that was that Michelle Obama tried to talk to our Congress about how unhealthy our children's meals are, and they filibustered. They wouldn't listen to her, but they reconvened a week later to declare pizza a vegetable. And when they declared pizza a vegetable, I declared myself a nun. Now, at this time, I was running a cannabis collective, one of the first in California. I was getting growing cannabis in a family business. I had like 6 kids ages 14 to 24. Started sending them to ag school. It was a survival move. I had been through a bad divorce where he robbed all my money. My brother had been through a bad divorce and he had all his money robbed. And he had 3 and I had 3, and we just came together in California, and it was like, how are we going to survive? We will operate a cannabis club because we have an acre and we can grow it. So my activism sort of happened amidst me running this cannabis collective. And then as I started going to protests, I was dubbed Sister Occupy by the Occupy movement. That wasn't my name. That's the name they gave me. And as I was out, I realized how really desperate the people are to have the robed clergy among them. And I began to ask myself, where are the clergy? Where are the priests and the nuns that used to join in the 60s in the activist events? So then I did some further research and found out, well, they're too old. The Catholic nun is going extinct in this country, basically. There were 350,000 when I was growing up and taught by them. There's less than 50,000 now. The average age is 85. They die at the rate of 10,000 a year. The average new recruit is 78. So it's a dying thing and it's a dying thing.
They're an endangered basically they're an endangered species.
That's what I'm saying. And I would love for somebody to prove me wrong, because they're not very, as the Catholic Church has always been, they're not very forthcoming with their statistics. That was the best I could do, figuring out what's going on. But it explains why we never see them anywhere. So as I was out as an activist, people would come to me with various problems. And even though I was dirt poor myself and we were growing our own vegetables to survive, all the help they needed was to be connected to somebody for help. All the help I found out they needed was for someone to give a shit, and that it went a long way. So I did that for people. And so after a while, I began to attract other women who wanted to work with me. And then I closed down my cannabis collective because I wanted to focus on a line of products that would be more ready for the rest of the world as the legalization wave hits the planet, because we know it's going to happen now.
Absolutely.
So I came up with this concept of sort of combining spirituality without any man-made religion, without any contemporary religion, and that our spirituality is based on ancient Celtic wisdom and ancient Native American wisdom. And that is you make your medicines by moon cycle and you plant by moon cycle. And then I said, how do I get young nuns involved in this? Well, okay, what if I said we're only celibate during medicine-making moon cycles? Because we do, as activist sisters, we do not believe in regulating the vagina. So why would we regulate our own sisters' vaginas? But the world is not ready.
That's right.
The world is really not ready for non-celibate nuns. And even though we are celibate during medicine-making moon cycles, which is
Sorry to jump in there on a religious point there. But nuns go celibate, but some of the fathers don't have to be celibate now, do they? Is that correct?
Exactly. It's always been a double standard. The idea that to be spiritual, you have to be celibate is ridiculous. The idea that nuns, to this day, sisters are not, have to take this vow of celibacy, which, by the way, was not the vow that Saint Scholastica did. She was the very, very first nun. Her vow was chastity. So we are chaste women. You do not have to be celibate to be a chaste woman. And then the other.
Well, a friend of mine said that the celibacy was actually a typo. It should have been celebrate. Go forth and be celebrating. It was just a typo.
I actually think that's what happened. I like it.
Could well be.
Because our spirit, if you look at the native ancient women who made medicines here in our soil, and the ancient women who made medicines and were spiritually empowered in the soil of northern England and Scotland, I'm quite sure, I don't know, I can't prove it, but I'm quite sure they didn't take a vow of celibacy. So let me.
Our witches. Oh no! Certainly, our witches from our Celtic history, we were more women-led. I mean, women were, both.
Yes. And we were ruled by women. A true women-led order is not going to condemn something that empowers women. I mean, that's crazy. But here's the other thing. We are vegan. We are plant-based diet during our medicine-making moon cycles. Being celibate does nothing for planet Earth. But being plant-based in our diet does a whole lot for planet Earth. So I think over time, our vow, we take a vow of ecology. We live together. And I'm beginning to get requests from other sisters who want to join the order. And we actually did ordain sort of a Mother Superior of Mendocino County last weekend. And we don't know what we're calling this because this is a work in process on our expansion of including other women in the sisterhood.
As far as I can see as well, sort of coming from a Catholic-orientated England, I mean, this is the work that nuns were really famous for, going out amongst the poor and helping heal the sick and going other places where people wouldn't go, and they didn't have to worry about politics or policemen because they were nuns. They don't seem to do anything like that anymore. I don't know what they do. I don't even see them anymore in England. I know in Ireland they throw them out, they close them all because they were all fiddling about with kids and all sorts of nasty things, yeah?
Well, here's the thing. The sisters here are losing their housing as the Catholic Church sells it off to settle pedophile suits. It's ridiculous. And I have been out. I've met Catholic sisters, and they'll say to me, "How can you wear that heavy clothing that we fought so hard to not wear?" And my answer is, "Why do you go about incognito? The people don't know you're among them." And so I very much feel that if there were a bunch of Catholic nuns or any Catholic nuns here in the Central Valley, out of respect for them, I couldn't have done this. But it is, in fact, the fact that they're absent. And I felt that this position needed to be occupied. And it needed to be occupied by compassionate women who don't have an attitude towards cannabis and don't have an attitude towards tobacco and don't have an attitude towards wine, because the people need medicine. We're going through a paradigm-changing time on this planet where more and more we are divided not by religion, not by class, not by color, but by those who get it and those who don't. And those who get it understand that we are one, and we are one with the planet. And destruction of the planet is destruction of ourselves. So I feel like we are occupying a much needed space, and that it is a calling. And we do take our vows, but we think the vow of ecology is far more important than a vow of celibacy.
Well, I'll be honest with you, like, your vow of celibacy does nothing for me. Your vow that you do take about ecology does absolutely everything for me.
It should, because we have to worry about the planet right now. We've let our corporations run amok.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, what you do in your private life, sister, it's got nothing to do with me anyway. What you do with the ecology of the planet has got absolutely everything to do with me.
Exactly. Yeah? And that's sort of my point. So we're activist sisters. No other sisters can join us unless they are also activists for the earth and activists for Earth's people. And these laws that are trying to keep people from growing in their own yard or growing their own food, it's insane. It's out of control. So really what I'm trying to do is unite all women who feel the same way in some kind of a new cause, in a new age order that is respectable, that is chaste. You know, we feel like Muslim women should not be the only women who have on the earth who privatize their sexuality. So we embrace the fact that we are privatizing our sexuality in sisterhood with them. So every which way you look at our sisterhood, it's got activist onion layers where you peel off one and there's another underneath.
Many years ago, sister, in England, when I was like, I really tried to study this hemp thing for many years, and I followed it down many paths. And one of the paths it took me down once, I found that the closed orders, certainly in England, the ones that really are self-sufficient and live behind closed walls, that they actually do grow cannabis in there because they need it to be self-sufficient. Now, I don't know whether they were smoking it or making it into ointments, but they were certainly using it for their clothing, and they were certainly using it for their paper. And I have it on very good authority that most closed orders use the hemp seed for nutrition to help keep them healthy. So yes. I don't think you're actually doing anything that hasn't been done before, but you're doing it openly.
Right. And you're right. And I say that all the time exactly to people. What I'm doing, I'm not even inventing. It is not new. Somebody sent me a YouTube video called Drug Lord, and it was about a sister in New Zealand who went in she died in 1927, but from like 1870 till when she died, her and her sisters were growing cannabis and providing it for the people. That was before Richard Nixon. That was before Americans' government demonized it on behalf of pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
This is not new what I'm doing, and it's not creative.
I do think as well, by the way, I think it's very beautiful. I mean, I know it's touched on me. I know from the response that I've seen from just posting on my Facebook wall, the amount of response you've got and the amount of respect. And I do hear that you've been sort of on your side of the water, you know, like Huffington Post have been interesting. So I've been seeing some very interesting media on you over the last few weeks. Yeah. Yes,
it changed my life completely. It changed our lives. I mean, seriously, we were selling $300 a day of salve and tinctures, and the media attention made that go boom to like 5 to 6 times. But at the same time, I talked to my brothers and sisters that helped me form this and said, what should I do? What do you want me doing? And they said for the cannabis legalization and on behalf of Mother Earth, and convincing people to take a plant-based diet, and also convincing people that cannabis really is a medicine, and to sort of counteract the stoner culture when it comes to cannabis. For the sake of that message, I need to just keep my face out there, take every interview, and that's where I am. And poor Sister Darcy got bumped up, and now we've got other sisters coming to help us deal with the store.
Wow, wonderful. I must say to any of the audience that's not seen the video of the sisters, I've been posting it on my wall. I will post it out again. Go and watch it. If you see one of the things that these sisters put into their oil that is certainly in abundance is that beautiful thing called love. And you can see it on the video. You can watch people putting love into something. It's amazing. Yeah, and I think that's why you've gone a bit viral, sister, because people can actually see those of us that are involved in this, I think, can really actually see your intentions.
I wouldn't share this story with anybody else, but since you appreciate our little videos so much, I'm going to share it with you and your viewers. We had an RV at a crop site where we had to hire kind of tough guys to guard our crop, right? The sisters don't do guns and do crop gardening.
No.
We have the brothers.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So one of the men who was lost his trucking job because he had failed a marijuana drug test, which kind of aggravates me because cannabis is medicine and they need to quit that. There's no evidence. They need to give real tests on functionality, and because people put pills in their system, and as long as they have a prescription, it's okay.
Oh,
but
actually, you can drive on heroin and there's no problem.
Okay, so we hired him because we felt we always feel terrible when somebody loses their job over cannabis.
Yeah, the
It's just such a malignment. It's such a slap to humanity and to the medicine. So we hired him, and while he had to sit out there at long, lonely days and nights guarding our crop, he taught himself how to make videos, music videos on his Android. So after the crop was in, we hired him to start making us a little video of what's going on and share with the world what's going on here. And we got amazing response for that. People are hungry to see spirituality woven back into daily life.
Yeah, you've touched on something. Every now and again, people touch on certain elements, and I think you've tapped into something, either by design or by a greater force or whatever. But that's what's happened here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And we
tapped him.
I was just on a live talk show with Jay Thomas, and he said, "You had me." He started it with, "You had me fooled, sister. I thought you were real." I said, "Excuse me, we're very real. What we do with our medicines is we plant by the moon cycle, we harvest by the moon cycle, we make our medicines by the moon cycle, and we do it with prayer and spirituality and in a very solemn environment because we believe that our prayer and infusing that into the medicine helps the intelligent plant."
Oh, of course it does. Of course it's love. It's a love plant. It works on vibration, and you're giving it the vibration of love. And I must say as well, audience, the other reason you know that these sisters are very serious, when you see the bud that they grow, it is just absolutely out. It's outdoors, isn't it? Oh man, look, you see a million pictures of good bud on Facebook and on news media these days. But you can tell a plant that's had some love in it, because this plant, one thing it loves is love. I've lived in Jamaica with Rastas, man. The more love you give that plant, the more love she gives back. She's a love vibration plant. Simple.
Yes, absolutely. And we respect those plants, and we show them respect, and we talk to them about how important they are in the mission of healing.
Yeah, I can see that. I with my eyes, and call them trained eye or whatever, I can see that because I've seen these indoor crops that have been growing for commercial purposes on. You can tell a plant that's been grown with love. It just stands out. It's like it's where it's vanished.
Oh, yes, I'm telling you, I heard the funniest story at the opening of the first Women Grow chapter in the Central Valley. And that was a woman who her husband had lost his job, then she lost her job, and they sort of, like my situation, got into growing it just out of pure need and curiosity, and we already had respect for the plant. But she made her husband set up a complete separate area for her plants. She did everything exactly the way he did, and she got 20% more output because she went and meditated and prayed with her plants every day. He made fun of her through the whole process, but at the weigh-in time, he wasn't smiling. So I'm telling you, there's science in this magic as well, where we can prove what happens here.
You know it. Yeah, come to the way she won, man. So whatever she done is right, and whatever he done wasn't so good. So, sister, we got to that bit, and I love the work you're doing. I love the way you're producing that. Where are you now? What's the plans? I mean, it just seems to be that. The world is your oyster, really, down there.
No, the world is not my oyster. It just magic wands just don't really exist. No, where we are is we got a farm. We've got reconstruction going on in the farm, so you'll see little videos of that. And in the middle of next month, we're moving to the farm. Now, we're moving from a city that doesn't want us growing here, but doesn't quite want to shut us down now because of the media attention. Thank you all. Bless you all. To a county where they only have a 12-plant limit. So we have a growing business, and the sisters bought a farm, put $85,000 down on that farm to secure that farm, and the county says we can only grow 12 plants, and that they're not really sure they're going to. they're not really sure that we can do commerce here. So it's going to be an unfolding story because I'm going to fight them. We do have, in our opinion, their 12 plant limit is for psychotropic plants, not non-psychotropic plants, and that they are distorting the intention of the law by limiting non-psychotropic plants. So
I hate this. I hate that anyway. I mean, why are these people that are not doctors, and lots of people are saying this now, how can people that are not doctors dictate how much food we eat? Because this is food, you need it. So how can a politician know anything about this? He's not even trained for it. So all these 12 plants, 1 plant, 12, it's just rubbish as far as I'm concerned. If you grow as many plants as you need. Simple.
Yeah, so I went before the county board of supervisors yesterday morning. Yep. And just said, I'm moving to the country, and we're going to grow a big crop, and you guys are going to give us permission. And they just kind of reaffirmed that the law is 12 plants. But see, they're not thinking. They don't want to think. They don't want to say CBD or THC. And we have relationships with 2 very respectable test labs because we back check the work of one lab against the other lab. We test everything. So we're actually, I think that we are able to step out because we're doing pure CBD, and we did pure CBD out of the reason that we wanted to be able to export our products around the world. In reality, as healing sisters, we know that it's better for people to have both. It's better to have both, just exactly the way Mother Nature gave them to us.
Yeah. Well, again, our choice, isn't it? So if you talk to some, I mean, there is certain conditions now that seem to respond better to CBD1 or CBD2. Some conditions present. So we should have the choice now of what food plant that we decide to take.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. If you listen to some of the top medical doctors now, the ones that know what they're talking about, they all agree with that.
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
only people that seem to be trying to ban it are the politicians. Well, politicians were never put in place to look after our health.
Yeah, well, in this part of the world, too, it's a little bit very, very strange. Like the city council members, they're not paid positions. So you have to be rich, basically, independently wealthy, to be on city council. And then you can bet they're making deals in favor of this guy or that guy that somehow benefit them.
And, of course, what you're doing, being on the religious side of this all this politics should not even be involved talking to people
but because we didn't form ourselves into a religion because we believe that religion itself has done a lot of damage to the earth. Also, if we did form a religion, then we would be in the same club, nonprofit club, as the NFL, and we just have a problem with that. So we just said, no, we're going to do our own little private company. It's going to be held by the sisters, and we're not going to pretend to be something because we don't ask for donations. We do not evangelize. We do evangelize a little bit about cannabis, and we do evangelize a little bit about a plant-based diet and how our meat-based diet is destroying the planet. But, I mean, we're not asking for money.
But you're not alone in that now. There's thousands of us that are saying that, or at least hundreds of it. You're not alone in saying that because why are we all saying it? Because it's true, isn't it?
It's absolutely true. It's a ridiculous idea. I'm sorry.
My life ended on that plant. It saved it. I'm alive today because of it. Of course I'm going to be evangelical about it.
Right, absolutely. And then when it comes to the meat-based diet, it's just ludicrous that we're wiping out land around the planet to feed animals, to slaughter them to feed ourselves when we could be just feeding ourselves off the land. It's crazy.
And again, with hemp seed protein, pound for pound, there's more protein in hemp seed than there is in beef.
Yes, and so I think it's really time. I'm going. My job changed. My life changed. I don't know anything about the media, so I'm sure I'm going to say really stupid things that are going to get my butt kicked. But whatever. It seems like the time is right to step out because it seems like the whole planet is waking up. The whole medical community is understanding the medicinal value, and there's going to be sweeping reforms across the planet.
Yes. Well, there has to be, doesn't it? For us to go forward into whatever situation, as we know, medically we need this plant because of the phenocannabinoids and the phenocannabinoid system. The nutritional side of it is absolutely stunning. The environmental side of it is just, well, people haven't even picked up on that yet. Seriously, they don't even understand how environmentally friendly this plant is. And then the peripheral of products that can be produced for it to replace these horrible fossil fuel products is unbelievable. So as mankind, womankind, priestkind, wherever we go forward as one, this plant has to go with us, because we ain't got no future otherwise.
Right. And then somebody wrote me something quite amusing, that Monsanto, who we hate and can't stand, they're like the Darth Vader of our times. Monsanto got a law passed federally that no one can ban anyone or limit anyone from growing a crop. No city, state, or county. So people are saying we may be able to use that as our defense to grow, which I think would be kind of amusing, that if we could find, if the weed growers could get some benefit out of Monsanto's attorneys, that would be okay. We'd use it, because they certainly don't do anything for the planet or the rest of us.
No, I totally agree with that. And as you know, coming from Europe, we threw Monsanto out a long time ago.
I know, and it's insane. It's insane that they're still allowed to stomp around America and destroy. It's insane that they are still even in business.
Well, obviously the people that run your country, well, we know, don't we?
Yes, we know.
They're all in bed together. They're all in bed together.
Yes.
All feeding from the same rotten cake.
Well, and then Citizens United gave them permission to just, do whatever they want and buy elections. And so there's much work to be done. There's much work to be done in undoing the corporate power. You guys in Europe are so far ahead of us on all of this. And part of my aggravation coming back to America is I feel like I spent a decade with the grown-ups, and then I had to come back and deal with the children. So, yes, I guess that turned me into an activist.
Yeah. But then again, once the plant has touched your life in certain ways, you can't go back, because you can't deny her, can you? She does so many wonderful things. And when you have your eyes open to what it can do and how the possibilities, why would you want anything else? Why would you settle for second best when we can have such a wonderful future together?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if everybody knows this, but just working with the plant is a healing experience.
Ain't it just?
Yeah.
Mind you, I think that's with a lot of plants, though, sister. I don't think cannabis alone. I personally, that's my favourite plant to grow. But having been out in nature and growing, I think all plants and getting your hands in the dirt and turning over that energy, I think it is one love, one vibration. It's just that the cannabis one seems to vibrate more with me. But
you're right. I'm just focused on that because just recently city council was considering, or their ban won't allow anybody to even have one plant in their backyard in city limits. And as somebody who works with sick and dying people, I can tell you there were many times that we took patients, cannabis plants, little babies, because they weren't really dying. They just wanted to die. So the cannabis plant would end up giving them a reason to go out in the sunshine, a reason to fuss out there with the soil and the earth.
Yeah.
And the idea that somebody wouldn't have the right to do that is so offensive to me. So, I'm agreeing with you. All plants, all work with Mother Nature is healing in its own way. Yeah. But this is a super plant to me. This is a super medicine to me.
Yeah. Because sister, do you use it yourself?
Yes, of course.
Well, that's a leading question. Yeah, I do. I'd like to clarify that, because obviously, of course you do, because you.
It's the number one question that everyone asks. But let me tell you, I personally come from a long line of alcoholics. I have Dutch German blood in me and a little Irish. And at any one time or another, I can name a cousin who's trying to drink himself to death. So I have always been very, very frightened of alcohol. And I didn't try cannabis till I was about 23 or 24 years old. And I was shocked at how well it worked to just calm me. I mean, the sisters were not too much into getting baked, as people would say. But we love our work. But it is definitely part of our culture and part of our life. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason I asked that as well, because I noticed your contact with the plant, and having worked with the plant myself on a regular basis, just by touching it and being around in it, I know that it sort of affects people. And I saw you and sister, the way that you're processing, and I thought to itself, whether they use or whether they don't use, that plant's going to be affecting them because they're so close to it, got so much love in it. Whether you actually really took the next step to ingest it into your body, you've already done it by touching it and being in its vibrational energy field, I think.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to ask the question, really. It wasn't sort of a leading question, do you smoke pot, sister? It's more of this, because I can feel the resonance of what you're doing and I've seen what you do. I just felt that you would obviously, you're also benefiting from the properties of it. Yeah.
We have an
good to know.
We have an intimate and happy relationship with our medicine.
Yeah, it looks that. That's a beautiful way of putting it, and it comes across on video, sister. That really is nice. So let's talk a bit techie, right? So we've gone down that road. Is there any particular varieties you grow, or are you just sort of like whatever pops up things? You know?
No.
I'm not trying to get trade secrets out of you.
No. It's fine. We don't believe in trade secrets. In the good tradition of sisters of all time, we're about education, enlightenment, and transparency. Yeah. So we go to Harborside in Oakland. Because it's almost.
Oh, he's a good boy, isn't he? That boy. And then what's his name?
It's almost as it's less for us to buy the clones actually than to buy the seeds. So we sometimes order the seeds from Attitude Seed Bank, but we found it simpler to just go to Harborside. They've got trays of AC/DC or Harlequin. Those are the two that we've tested over and over again, and they end up high in CBD and under the federal and government radar for the THC. And then we grow them. And frankly, that beautiful bud you saw in our videos, we have brothers who help us with this because we could not grow a bud like that if we weren't getting support from people who were doing it for 20 years or more. So just so you know, that's not all us. We have very, very good brothers who've been making this, growing it a long time.
Yeah, big one out for the brothers too. It's not just the sisters. Don't forget the brothers.
Yes, nice exactly. I can't take credit for something that it's their knowledge base. They just brought it to us.
Yeah. So you are strained sort of, and they're the ones that. I mean, I've heard quite a lot about this harlequin. I mean, I come from Eastern Europe, so we just grow it outdoor in the field. That's standard agriculture. We got about 10 different varieties that we've been growing since time immemorial, and they all come out high CBD, low THC. But these harlequin, these specialised breed ones, I'm not very familiar with them, and I'm quite interested in what they're doing with them. And I mean, yours look absolutely beautiful.
Yes, well, thank you. They are. I understand that AC/DC is a derivative of Charlotte's Web. That basically, Charlotte's Web was reclassified as hemp, and AC/DC is the cannabis version. Well, so it's all word soup to me because I don't get all that.
Okay, can I clear that up actually?
Sure, please.
Right. Charlotte's Web. Right, because there's a lot of controversy on this, right? And I have contacted the Stanley brothers over this, so I'm not speaking out of turn, and they never bothered to get back to me, right? Charlotte's Web is called a Compulti 303, and it comes from the Hungarian, Romanian, Austrian border, and it's been growing down there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And I believe it was one of the brothers who was travelling through that part of the world about 10, 15 years ago, was giving some seed from that part of the world, and he just took it back, and of course, as they said, they threw it in the corner, didn't think much of it. Yeah, until it turned out that it was a very high CBD, low THC, and anybody in agricultural hemp world, we've known that for years, yeah, because we know about that sort of plant. So basically, Charlotte's Web wasn't so much a hybrid that they bred up; it was just a seed that come out of Eastern Europe. I mean, we got tonnage of it down. I was on one farm that grows. It was 600 square hectares of this Compulti 301. And they basically grow it for seed to sell it to the Chinese for fishing food. So harlequins and all that. So everything has to come from something, doesn't it, sister?
Yes. Isn't it interesting?
Unless you're Mr. Frankenstein. Unless you got into a laboratory with some chemicals, or like Mr. Monsanto and come out with some chemical. Anything that comes from nature has to come from something. It can't just purely able. And as far as I know, that's where that seed variety comes from. Because that was my next question, really. When you get your land, we'll have to see if we can send you some of our beautiful varieties over and see what you can do with them.
Oh, we would
From the
love that.
original
And we
Danks.
would also
Yeah.
love it if you ever want to visit us and visit our farm. We would be
Yeah.
honored to host you.
Well, of course. Of course I'll come and visit.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out, and I'd like to send some over because we got some we got about 10 that are all of these high CBD, low THC. It'd be very nice to give them to an old summer out there.
That
where
would
you
be
could
lovely.
look
That
after
would
them
be
for us.
really lovely. That would be a great help to the sisters, actually.
Yeah, we can do that. We can put that together. So where are you at the moment? So do you have visitors to the centre? Is it a visitor centre? Is it? Where's your website? Right, tell me how do we find you?
Okay, well, our website is sistersofcbd.com. So sistersofcbdaltogether.com. And that also you can click through to our store to see our products. But more importantly, right now, just this morning or yesterday morning, I put up a change.org petition to our governor to say, save the Central Valley for cannabis growers. So it starts out Jerry Brown. I can't tell you guys exactly how to find it except to go to change.org and put in Jerry Brown with the J, Jerry Brown, and the word cannabis. And what'll happen is this petition will pop up. So I'm trying to get like 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000 worldwide signatures. At 100,000, Obama has to comment on it. If Obama comments on it, Jerry Brown will probably comment on it. So yes, you can go to sistersofcbd.com and look at our website, but there is a petition button up there, and that's what we just started. And we're just trying to put pressure on the world to realize that this cannabis is agriculture. And so you cannot tell us what to do when cannabis is agriculture.
Because it's agriculture, so it comes under any agricultural policy statements: bananas, carrots, potatoes, cabbages.
It's nutrition. It's nutrition. We also have a Sisters of the Valley Facebook page where that's where I would say that's where I do kind of my ranting.
Yeah. How can people help you? I hate to use the word need, by the way, because I don't think you need it at all. But I can't think of it.
We like to be self-sustaining, but now that we're going to farm, we could really use a wheelbarrow. I don't think anybody in Europe can fix that. But, those are the kinds of needs we have. A wheelbarrow, some tools. But really, we are proud of the fact that we're self-sustaining. We started a political action committee, so when people say they want to send money to us, are you there? Hello?
Steve, did we lose you?
He seemed to have dropped off.
He might have dropped off here. Let me get him back on.
Okay.
Yeah, he has. He's dropped off. Does he add people?
Do you want me to try to add him
that's
back?
fine.
Now?
I got him. I'm adding him back to the call.
All right, I got dropped out of that. Where are we? We still going?
I was just going to say, when people say that they want to help, we started a political action committee called Cannabis is Agriculture, because in America, you don't get anything done unless you buy your own politicians. So we decided we will fight fire with fire. We're going to ask people to donate to our political action committees, Cannabis is Agriculture, and then we're going to use that money to replace city and county officials who don't understand that cannabis is medicine.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be accused of anything. We, the sisters, don't want people, people are going to do it anywhere. They're going to say mean things about us, so we don't need to feed that by taking gifts. We need to just tell everybody, contribute to this group, because this group is about basically pulling out of office anybody who's trying to do silly things like ban cancer patients from having a couple cannabis plants in their backyard, even in city limits.
Yeah. Laws like that are just so, they're almost what they used to call the Dark Ages.
Oh, they are. They are.
That's the Dark Ages, man.
We went to a city planning. It was the zoning commission in this town that recommended the ban. And the commissioner of our zoning commission said, after we trooped about 20 or 30 people up to talk to him, to a microphone, are you trying to tell me that there's medicinal value to this plant? I could have died. I wanted to say, what rock have you been living under, sir?
Yeah.
So it's pretty offensive to me that they're taking this position. And I'm good with just, being out there and being the advocate. I mean, I'm honored, actually. I'm honored by the attention because what a wonderful cause to have drop in my lap. And I'm not fighting for CBD. Technically, the sisters could say, we're just CBD. We're going to ignore all this noise. We're going to go do our thing. And if they try to pull our plants, we'll sue them. Yeah. But we know that what we are doing with our CBD is only half the way there. People really need the whole medicine.
Yeah. Same with me. I actually promote a CBD oil in Europe. It's very affordable. It's very good. I've checked it all out. It's the real deal. I am like you. It's full plant freedom of the plant. Absolutely. I don't want no restriction on it. Nothing whatsoever. But for the time being, I'm quite willing to just keep promoting this until we can get the people to see sense, because CBD has a lot of properties. It does have a lot of good benefits. A lot of people receive relief from it. Some people don't need high THC to do certain things. So if there's a little door that we can get through for me, let's go through it. There's a little crack in the door, let's run through that crack, and then we can leave her open the bigger one as it comes. Yeah. But I'm like you. I'm promoting CBD, but I'm full plant. Freedom of. End
full
of.
plant.
There's no other way. There's no other equation, no other way, no other talk on our table. There's one free plant. End of. Don't want to hear no politician's story. Anybody can plant that plant wherever they want to plant it and wherever nature decides to grow it.
Right. I've always said it should be as regulated as dandelions. That is not regulated at all.
At all.
Because dandelions and dandelion root cures liver cancer. I'm not allowed to
if you mix
like that, but we know that it helps.
Right. If you if you use your roots from your plant, the organic ones, and blend it in with the dandelion, right, you make a concoction out of that. It is a real good quality liver restorer, and I know that for a fact because I restored my liver. So that's the living proof, not the doctor proof. This is the thing that works. You take that, don't matter what your doctor writes up about, he's done this metabolic pathways or he's transferred this CBD molecule into that. You've ended up with a bad liver, you end up with a good one. Simple. And that's root juice, mate. Dandelion root and that cannabis root. And put a bit of THC in it too. All works, mate. Simple.
Yes, and that's what we're all about. And I think we're very, very lucky to be living at this time where it is all changing. Everybody's learning that the emperor has no clothes.
You are. I was pronounced dead 4.5 years ago. I only had 2 days left to live. I'm very lucky to be alive at this time. You can keep your new age spirituality and all that.
I didn't quite mean it like that, but you understand what I'm saying. We've got a front row show in some very exciting times of change happening.
It is. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm coming up for nearly 60. I'm a man that ain't got nothing because I lost everything to cancer, including my teeth. I ain't got a clue where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to go next. But I'll tell you what, I've never been so excited in all my life about tomorrow.
Oh, that's
There's something going on, man. And I'm just embracing it, man. I'm like running into it like a little kid, man. And it's not because I've got nothing. It just feels wherever we're going, it seems to be the right path. Whereas I ever look back, all it was horror stories.
Yes.
And I know so much of the problems of the world, and I know we got loads of problems. But seriously, a lot of them are going to disappear once we go up to this organic
and plant-based diet.
Yeah, the
plant-based diet.
And also, not just the plant-based diet, but our building materials, carbohydrates, hydrocarbons. So we're going to replace the plastics. We're going to replace the tree felled paper. We're going to replace the rotten car. We're going to replace the fossil fuels. And it's all going to come from plant-based.
Yes.
And that will give us a sustainable future, not just for one century, but for forevermore.
Yes.
And at the moment, our children, I've got grandkids, man.
Yes.
I look around at our world, that bad world, and there's no future for them.
Yes.
But I look at my cannabis world, and there's a brilliant future.
Yes.
So there's 2 doors now, there's 2 roads to be taken. It's not crossroads. We've gone past crossroads. This is the V in the road. You go left, you go one way. You go right, you go the other way. And there's no doubt about which one is which. They're
Yes.
two completely different roads with two completely different outcomes.
Yes.
And I know, like you do, like Casper knows, like Robert Melameda knows, like so many people around the planet know, we need to take the plant of organic sustainability led by cannabis hemp.
Yes. Yes, and I think you're exactly right. This is an opportunity for us to unite around this medicine, but make bigger change than just legalizing this medicine. Much bigger change towards, and let the commerce of cannabis fund the money that we have to spend as we convert our economies to Mother Earth friendly economies.
Yeah. We can grow as much as we want. Whatever we need, we can grow it sustainable. As much fuel, as much cotton, as much paper, we can clear everything. It's such a beautiful future that we can all share in. And it doesn't matter what religion or what colour or what nation you come from, because she don't care. And she don't care if you're clever or stupid or you're a politician or a coal miner or a nun or a vicar or whatever, because you're made from her. And she's made the planet, and we just got to restore her. And all this wasting time. 2016 is our year. We're going to go this year. We've talked about it long enough. You've talked about it long enough. We've all talked about it. This year has got to change. And
gosh, I love you,
we
Steve.
Can do it, man.
Hey, Steve, I love your passion about this. Would you consider being one of our honorary brothers? Would you let us call you Brother Steve?
Of course, sister. That'd be an honor that would be bestowed upon me. I'd wear it with so much pride, I'll tell you.
Okay, well then we're going to call you Brother Steve.
Oh, bless you.
But we have to make it official by putting a straw farmer's hat on your head the next time we meet.
No problem. I've already got one, baby, because I live in the farms anyway. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I've got me a straw farmer's hat. Don't worry about that.
Okay, awesome.
Of course it is. Don't matter about nothing else at the moment. SOS Planet. Do you see that gorilla they put on? They taught a gorilla sign language. And he tapped out on his hands. He said, "Humans, you're stupid. You're in trouble." The whales are talking. The people, I've got people down in Hawaii that John Lilly Institute. The John Lilly Institute is amazing. They've been studying whales and dolphins on a real humanitarian level.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they now know what they can say and what they can talk. And they're saying the same, man. Our planet, stop pissing on it. We live here too. It's not just about humans. We're responsible for all the animals and all the trees and all the bees and everything else we're destroying.
Absolutely.
It's not just about us human fish. Yeah. Times have got to change, and it's people like you that are going to do it. I've got so much respect for you. I tell you. All right, how are you doing, Casper? I think we're going to close it down.
Say goodbye to trouble and strife.
Hi, I'm Scott Morgan with Flex Your Rights. I want to talk for a few minutes about an article I had published in Huffington Post recently called 5 Reasons You Should Never Agree to a Police Search, Even If You Have Nothing to Hide. Being approached by an officer on the street or pulled over in your vehicle or approached at your doorstep and asked to consent to a search is one of the most typical situations that can happen, and the consequences can be really, really severe. So I think it's important that people understand some of the very good reasons that you should think twice before ever giving a police officer permission to search you or your things. The first one is that it's your constitutional right. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says that police need probable cause or a warrant to search you or your belongings. Unless they have probable cause or a warrant, the only way they can search is if you say, sure, fine, go ahead and search me. So why would you do that? The officer is looking for evidence to get you in trouble. That's the only thing they're trying to do. They're not trying to help you find your car keys. So giving them permission to search you makes no sense at all. The officer is an investigator, and their job is to find evidence and arrest criminals, and that's where their authority comes from. They don't have the authority to give orders to innocent people. So if they don't already have a reason to suspect you of a crime, they have no authority and no reason to be bothering you. They can't tell you to do jumping jacks or show them your boobies, and they can't tell you to empty your pockets if they don't have a good, valid legal reason to do so. So it's not your obligation to just go along with any orders that they give you. They're not in charge of you. You're actually their boss. So, and they're here to help us. So we don't have to voluntarily let police officers dig through our things, and it's absurd to think that we would have to do that, and absurd to think that you have any interest in helping somebody investigate you whose only goal is to put you in jail for a crime. Now, the second reason, and this is a really important one where a lot of people get confused, is that refusing a search actually protects you if you end up in court as a result of a police search. Now, a lot of people point out, and this is true, that when you refuse consent to a police search, it's common for police to go ahead and search you anyway. And the reason that happens is that the officer could claim that they have probable cause for some other reason and go ahead and proceed with the search and then try to argue it out in court. Now, this happens all the time, but it's very important that you make it clear to the officer that you're not agreeing to that search. As long as you consistently said no to the search, even though the officer went ahead and did it anyway, even if they found, a bag of marijuana or something else in your car, that doesn't matter necessarily, because when you get into court, what your lawyer will do is argue that the officer didn't actually have legal grounds to perform that search. And your saying no to the search doesn't count as legal grounds to suspect you of a crime. And so it's very, very common for defense attorneys to actually win these cases. And we've discussed this with expert lawyers all over the country, and it happens every single day. And the lawyer makes what's called a motion to suppress, and they make the case that the evidence was gathered illegally, and the judge will then throw it out of court. It's not guaranteed to happen, but it's a common outcome that's only possible if you say no to the police search and assert your constitutional rights. And so what people get tripped up on is, well, if they're going to search me anyway, what's the point of refusing consent? The reason you refuse consent is because you can then get the evidence thrown out in court. And this is also true if there isn't anything found in your vehicle, but if you want to file a complaint or sue the police for harassment, obviously you can't say that they were harassing you if you gave them verbal permission to go digging around in your things. And so saying no is critical to establishing your legal standing to challenge the evidence and challenge the officer's actions. And so that's really important to understand. The third reason you should never agree to a police search is that saying no can in fact prevent a search altogether. Yes, it's true the police will sometimes search you without your permission, but it's also true that they often won't. These are what we think of as sort of fishing expeditions in many cases, where the officer, maybe they don't like the way you look or the neighborhood you're in, or maybe they just have a quota to fill and they're trying to make as many busts as they can. They will go up and ask people to search through your bag or your car for no reason. It happens all the time, all over the country. And so when you say no, when you show that you know your rights, suddenly this isn't, obviously not going to be such an easy bust for them to make, So it's common for police officers to actually back off when they realize that they don't have the legal authority to proceed, because why go to all the trouble of digging through all your things only to get the evidence thrown out in court? So this actually happens all the time, and you can go to the success stories page on flexyourrights.org and read some of the wonderful stories we've collected from all over the country, from our friends and supporters who've refused searches successfully. And so it really shows that it works and gives you a good window into some of the right ways to do that. A fourth reason why you should never consent to a police search is that searches can waste your time and damage your property. When you agree to a police search, you're agreeing to sit there while a stranger digs through all of your things for potentially very long time. A search on the side of the highway can take half an hour, 45 minutes, and if anything's broken, then you're responsible for the damage because you agreed to let these people mess around with all of your things. Unless you want to have all of that happen, it really doesn't make sense to go ahead and give them permission to do it. The fifth reason you should never agree to a police search, and this is one that a lot of people don't even think of, is how can you really be sure that there's nothing anywhere in your vehicle that could get you in trouble? I mean, unless you bought the car new and you're the only person that's ever been in it, and you know that you've never had anything illegal in the vehicle, it's really hard to be certain. I mean, you've probably given rides to a number of people. You never know what could have fallen out of somebody's pocket, or if you have passengers in the vehicle when you're pulled over, that's a concern too. And we hear about situations where a passenger sees the lights flashing behind them and they go and stick something under the seat, thinking about their own interests and not yours. And then it's also possible, if you're driving a used vehicle, that you don't know what the previous owner might have used the vehicle for. There can be hidden compartments deep inside your car that you don't even know about. And police are looking very thoroughly, more thoroughly through the vehicle than you might ever have. So the outcome of those searches could be very serious for you. And it's only because you waived your rights and gave the police officer permission that you're fully on the hook for whatever they find. And believe me, try telling an officer that something illegal doesn't belong to you. I didn't know it was there. They hear that all day, every day. So even if you're completely innocent, you can really get yourself in a lot of trouble by naively assuming that the police officer has your best interests in mind and that being honest and cooperative is going to work out well for you. Our prisons are just filled with people who assumed that. And, this isn't to say that we need to have a disrespectful attitude about police. That's really not it at all. The officer is just doing their job, by trying to investigate crimes. But you're doing your job as a citizen by asserting your constitutional rights. And so that's really what this comes down to. Now, for a little bit more information and some more specific techniques and advice on asserting your rights in these difficult situations, we have a lot more material on the Flex Your Rights website at flexyourrights.org, and we have a ton more videos on YouTube that you can check out that show, live action encounters and some of the best techniques for handling those. So there's a lot more material where this came from, so please check it out. And finally, if you'd like to support our work, the best way to do that is to donate through our website at flexyourrights.org. Now, all of our videos are available totally for free, but if you want to support us with a donation, we'll send you a hard copy of one or both of our DVDs, 10 Rules for Dealing with Police and Busted, the Citizen's Guide to Surviving Police Encounters. We don't want you to donate if you can't afford to, and that's why all of our material is available online. But if you do want to support our work, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and be safe out there. Take care.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. The only broadcasting network dedicated to ending the global war on drugs on iHeartRadio.